Welcome to this channel, and in this video I'm looking at a question on derivatives preparation for the Maths 103 exam. The question goes this way. It says if y is equal to 2 cos negative x plus 1 negative 3 sine negative x negative 1, then y prime prime is, and the options given are negative 4y, negative y, negative 9y, y. You can do well to pause the video and attempt it. Right? So in order to solve this, let me write it out clearly again. We have y equal to 2 cos negative x plus 1 negative 3 sine negative x negative 1. So in this case, to make this easier, we can do it part by part, right? So in this case, you should just have knowledge of the fact that first of all, the derivative of sine x is cos x, while the derivative of cos x is negative sine x, and then you should be able to make use of the chain rule and use substitution. Okay, so if we then consider the first part, which is 2 cos negative x plus 1, we could simply say let u be equal to negative x plus 1. Pay close attention. So if you differentiate this, the u over dx is going to be what? Negative 1. I remember according to chain rule that the y over dx is equal to what? Du over dx times dy over du. So if we differentiate cos u, so we can now write, let's call this first component y1, right? So that would be y1 is equal to 2 cos u. Are you following? So dy1 du is equal to 2 negative sine u, right? Because differential of cos is what? Negative sine. So that's negative 2 sine u. So we'll now multiply this dy1 du by this du. You can call this du1 dx, right? And so if you multiply negative 2 sine u, so over here, that means that dy1 dx will be equal to negative 2 sine u multiplied by negative 1, which is 2 sine u, which is going to be 2 sine negative x plus 1. So we are done with that part. And then for the second part, which is negative 3 sine negative x negative 1, negative 3 sine negative x negative 1. So same thing, you don't have to waste time. You say let u be equal to negative x negative 1, that's u2, and then if you differentiate this, we're going to have what? Negative 1. You agree? And then if you are to get the y du, that means you can write y2 as what? Negative 3 sine u2. And if we should differentiate this, what is it? It's going to give us what? y2 as negative 3 cos u2, because differential of sine is cos. And then if we multiply du dx by dy du, dy2 du, we're going to have positive 3 cos u2, and that's going to be what? 3 cos negative x negative 1. So this is the first derivative, and according to the question, what we're asked for is y prime prime, and y prime prime implies that you should get the second derivative. So that means the first derivative, remember when we differentiated the first part, what did we get? 2 sine negative x plus 1. So what we're going to have is 2 sine negative x plus 1 as the first derivative, which is y prime, 2 sine negative x plus 1 plus 3 cos negative, which is what we got over here, plus 3 cos negative x negative 1. And then to get y prime prime, we differentiate this function again. So I want you to pause the video and attempt differentiating again according to what we explained earlier. So without wasting much time, differentiate each part again. So if you differentiate sine, it's going to give you what? It's going to give you cos, right? And then if you differentiate what is in here, is what? Negative. Is negative 1, right? So negative 1 multiplied by 2 cos negative x plus 1, right? And then plus, if you differentiate what is in here, it's what? It's negative 1. Do you agree? So negative 1 multiplied by 3 multiplied by, what is the differential of cos? It's what? It's negative sine, right? Multiplied by negative sine u, which is what? Negative x negative 1. So that will be negative 2 cos negative x plus 1, and then minus minus is plus, and that's plus 3 sine negative x negative 1. And we can factor this out as what? Negative 2 cos negative x plus 1, then negative 3 sine negative x negative 1. That's I factored out, right? Because if we divide plus 3 sine negative x negative 1 by negative, you have negative, right? And then you now recall that these 2 cos negative x plus 1 minus 3 sine negative x minus 1, which is what I just got here now, right, is the same as the original function, which is what? Y. So you can now replace that with what? Y. Are you following? The whole of this now was the original function given to us. So that implies that the second derivative is equal to minus this minus outside there, and then y. So that's the answer to the question, and that is option B. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you understood. If there are any other doubts or questions, please do well to watch my videos on derivatives part 1 and 2, where I deal with derivatives and trigonometric differentials. Also, if you want or need a private one-on-one session or group session tutoring, do well to check the link in the description section. Book a class, right? Thank you so much once again. Like, share this video. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do well to subscribe by clicking the subscription button. Thanks once again, and have a nice day.